Good morning, everybody. It's Martin with Crest Construction again, and we're going to talk about a more concise topic today than the previous videos. All we're going to talk about this morning is a spec book and what is a spec book. You know, in residential, the residential sector is just a bit unofficial compared to the commercial sector. In residential, you're usually working directly with homeowners, interior designers. You're making decisions via text message or emails or hand-sketched drawings. With somebody signing off on them. In the commercial sector, things are more official than that. There's a set of plans for all these projects and an associated spec book. What is a spec book? It's a specifications book. It's a manual for the project. It is your Bible. It's typically this damn thick, man. It is a big old document. I don't print them up anymore. I just have them on my computer and I read through them and find the associated divisions of work that pertain to me and make sure I'm allotting for the proper materials. Spec book it'll outline the scientific properties of all the products that need to be used, because there's a lot of different products. For example, I just bid a job for a dialysis clinic. There was a room that was going to be used for storage of chemicals. The chemical that is stored in there has a chemical makeup that rusts out the cold form framing, the metal. So the wall detail showed a concrete slab, ice and water shield, a metal track, and then metal studs going up. We were to wrap the ice and water shield up the wall 2 feet and then apply a bead of sealant along the bottom. What scientific properties do that ice and water shield need to have? What scientific properties does the sealant need to have that goes at the bottom of the wall? That's outlined in the spec book, not in the plans. Sometimes it may be in the plans, it may, but you always revert back to the spec book, generally speaking. There may be some extreme circumstances where an architect gets in a bind, they missed a detail, and they'll say, it doesn't say that in the specs, but it says it in the plans. That's what I've heard. I haven't encountered that. I'm to understand that the spec book, it is your Bible. If it can't be reconciled in the spec book, then the plans are wrong. It's in the specs. You gotta be familiar with your spec book and how to find details in there. I don't print them up. I do them on Adobe Acrobat. I will download the document, put it in Acrobat, and then I use the find feature in Acrobat. I will type in the number associated with whatever division of labor I'm doing, and it'll pull up that section real quick, and I can read through it and find the details that I need. That's why you need to know master format. You need to Google master format for construction and what that is. What it is, just brief overview, is it's a standard. It's just a standard outlining of every little detail that goes into a job. Every little detail of a job has a number, and that number is unique to that little detail of a job. For example, division 09100 is related to painting. Then it's further broken down to like 09105 or 110. That's exterior painting, and and so on and so forth. It just goes detail by detail to where you get like 09250 is painting millwork. I mean, I don't know if it's like that. I use kind of the broad stroke categories and don't really get into that fine of breakdown in my proposals. But the spec book is your Bible. You need to know the spec book, and when you're bidding these jobs, you need to know what's typically called out for. Another reason it's important to be reading this spec book is because there'll be some gray area that you can kind of operate in to save some money. For example, in EIFS, exterior insulating finish systems. The plans sometimes will say, they'll have a wall section that's pointing at the EIFS finish, and it'll say use a Drive It brand, EIFS finish. Then you get into the spec book and you find the scientific properties that they're asking for with that finish system, and you can find less expensive products that meet the same scientific specifications, and you can get submittals printed up, submit them to the GC or to the owner of the project, and they'll sign off and say approved, you can use that product instead. And you may be able to save $5,000-6,000, where the other guy that's bidding it may not have done that, and they're going to be $5,000 or $6,000 more expensive than you. It's going to help you win the job if you can find that kind of stuff and get your submittals in and get approval on them. Spec book is your Bible. Know the spec book, read the spec book, keep it on your bedside table, go on and push all your other reading material to the side and read that joker as you're going to sleep at night, man. That's just how it is. I hope that you guys got something out of this. If you got any questions, send me a DM, reach out to me, look me up on Google, give me a phone call. Be glad to help you. Have a good morning.